Welcome to our deep dive this week. We're here to take a big pile of information and turn it into something you can really use in your life.
Hello, and thank you for being here with us.
If you're learning English, this is, I think, the perfect place to be because today we are exploring a really, really important life skill.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about how to respect yourself, how to set limits, and, build that self-love that is actually strong and healthy.
And this isn't just an idea to think about. This is something that really changes your day-to-day life.
Oh, absolutely.
It changes how you feel at work, how you feel when you go to bed at night, and how much energy you have left for the things you actually care about.
That's the key, isn't it? The
Yeah,
energy. And look, this isn't about becoming like cold or selfish. It's about becoming solid, grounded.
exactly. Well structured.
Yeah. So we've pulled together some really simple, practical habits and phrases from the sources you've shared. And our mission today is just to give you some tools you can use right away.
And we're going to guide you through all of this using clear, everyday English so you can really absorb the ideas without, feeling overwhelmed by complex words.
So just relax.
Mm.
Focus on the ideas. Maybe repeat a few phrases that you find useful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's get into this with a little story because I think everyone listening has felt this before.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever felt just completely exhausted, like
Mm.
mentally, emotionally, physically tired? And then you realize the reason you're so tired isn't because of your boss or your schedule. It's because of your own lack of limits.
That is the silent price that so many kind, generous people pay.
It is. I remember a while back, I had this colleague, super nice person, but their timing was just awful.
Oh, I think I know where this is going.
Yeah, they would always ask for a quick favor right at 5 o'clock. Not 5:10, not 4:50,
Mm.
right when I was packing up to leave.
The end of day ambush.
Totally. And I needed to run to catch the last express train home. If I missed that train, I'd have to wait for an hour on a cold platform for the next slower one.
That's a lot of pressure. That clock watching stress is very real.
And for months, I just kept saying yes. Every single time. I was trying to be nice, good team player.
Of course.
But then I started missing the train day after day. And I'd be sitting there on that platform feeling stressed and angry,
Mm-hmm.
but the anger was at myself.
Ah, yes.
I was so upset that I failed to protect my own time. And by doing that, I had basically taught my colleague that my time at 5:00 p.m. didn't really matter. It was open for discussion.
That example's perfect. It shows the problem so clearly. When you ignore your own boundary, you're the one who suffers alone. And at the same time, you're setting this invisible rule for other people that is just impossible to keep up long term.
So today, that's what we're talking about, changing that rule. We're going to give you those simple habits, those phrases, the tools to help you draw those lines so you can stop feeling so overwhelmed and, start protecting your own peace and your energy.
And don't feel like you have to change everything all at once. Just listen for one idea, one simple phrase that feels useful for you. We can start with the most basic idea that changes everything else.
Okay, let's do it.
So the first idea we really need to understand is this. The way you treat yourself creates an invisible rule for how everyone else is going to treat you.
I love that phrase, invisible rules.
Hmm.
It means you don't have to, shout or make a big announcement.
Exactly.
You don't have to send an email to everyone saying, my personal time is now important.
No, you don't. People learn your rules just by watching what you do. Think about it. If you are always canceling your own plans,
Like a quiet evening to read a book or something.
right, or a plan to go to the gym, if you cancel that because someone else asks for something at the last minute, what do people learn about your personal plans?
They learn that my plans are not that important, that they're flexible,
Yeah.
that they can be replaced by whatever they need. My commitment to myself is lower than my commitment to them.
Precisely. And if you are always speaking badly about yourself, about your work, or how you look, others might, subconsciously learn that it's okay for them to criticize you too.
So your inner voice kind of becomes the external expectation.
It does. Let's use a picture to help us here. Think of your self-treatment like a personal compass.
Okay. A personal compass.
Yeah. But this compass doesn't point north. It points everyone else in the direction of your value.
I like that.
If your personal compass points low meaning, you always put your own needs and your energy last, then other people will just follow that direction.
They just assume that's the correct way to treat me.
They're just reacting to the rules you've set without even using a single word.
And this goes right into that problem I had with the train story, what you call the always available trap.
Hmm.
We fall into this habit of feeling like we have to be instantly responsive, answer every message right away.
It's a very attractive habit at first because it feels good. You feel needed, you feel helpful, you feel like the kindest person in the room.
But the sources we looked at are so clear about this. Very quickly, that feeling of being helpful turns into an expectation.
It does. If you're always available, people just start to expect instant access to you. They stop even thinking that you might have your own priorities.
And that standard you set, being available 24/7, it's impossible to keep up.
Hmm.
So when you finally break that pattern,
Hmm.
say you go offline for a day or you take an hour to reply to a text, that's when you see what's really happened.
That's when the consequences appear. The people who got used to your lack of limits, they often react negatively.
They might sound a little impatient or confused. Where were you? I sent that message an hour ago.
That little pushback, that annoyance, that is the proof that the expectation was already there. You didn't mean to train them, but your constant availability did the training for you.
So the goal isn't to stop being kind or helpful. It's just to understand that kindness needs structure. It needs a limit.
And that structure is what we call boundaries. In simple English, boundaries are just your personal limits.
Okay, so what is okay for me and what is not okay?
Exactly. What kind of behavior is acceptable, what you're willing to discuss, and what is just not okay.
I think we need to be careful with the image of boundaries, though.
Oh.
We don't want people picturing these, huge, cold concrete walls that keep everyone away.
No, that's a great point. It sounds so hostile.
Yeah,
Boundaries aren't high walls. Think of them more like garden fences.
the garden fence.
A fence just clearly marks where your personal space, your garden begins. It keeps your space private and safe, but you still have a gate.
Right. You control the gate. You can choose to open it and invite people in when you feel it's right.
You're still warm, you're still friendly, but you are in control. You decide who comes in, how long they stay, and what kind of behavior is allowed in your personal garden.
So when you decide to build this fence, you have to be ready for what you call the reaction to change. This is so important.
It's crucial. When you start setting these limits, when you close that gate for the first time, the people who are used to having easy access might feel uncomfortable.
They might be confused. They might even try to make you feel guilty to get you to open the gate again.
They might. And when that happens, you have to remember two things. First, their discomfort doesn't mean they're bad people. It just means they're getting used to a new rule. The old way was easier for them.
Okay.
And second, you have to remember the boundary is to protect you, not to punish them.
I think we should dig into that a little more. What if the person really is difficult? What if they're not just uncomfortable, but they're actually being manipulative?
That's a really sharp question. If someone reacts to your kind, clear boundary with, a lot of drama or anger, or they just keep trying to break your limit,
Mm-hmm.
then you have received some very important information. That reaction shows you that maybe the relationship was built on your lack of boundaries, not on real mutual respect.
So in that case, the fence isn't just about protecting your guardian. It might be about moving that person further away from the gate entirely.
Gradually, yes. And the strength to hold that fence up, to keep that boundary, it comes from believing you deserve it. And that belief brings us right to the heart of personal value.
That's a perfect transition. Because what we believe we deserve is what we call self-worth. This is such a critical word for understanding self-respect.
Self-worth is the deep belief that you have value just by being a human being. It's an internal value.
It's not connected to your job or how you look or how much money you make or how many likes you get on a photo.
Exactly. It means your worth is constant. It's like the sun. Even on a cloudy day, the sun is still there. Your value is still there, even when you make a mistake or feel unproductive.
The problem, though, for so many of us, is that we are taught to look for our worth outside of ourselves. We look for validation.
Mm-hmm. Validation.
And validation is when you need other people to approve of you, to tell you that you're smart enough or good enough. And of course, a compliment feels nice.
It does. External approval is a pleasant thing. But if you rely on it to feel okay, it makes you emotionally fragile.
Fragile, meaning easy to break.
Very easy to hurt or break. If your sense of worth comes from the outside, then one small negative comment, one little piece of criticism, can make your entire mood just crash.
You're basically giving other people the remote control to your feelings.
That's a perfect way to put it. If they give you warmth, you feel good. If they give you ice, you feel cold. You've given them the thermostat.
I can relate to this so much. I had this happen when I started baking as a hobby. I made this really beautiful cake. I was so proud of it.
Okay.
It felt like, a real accomplishment. So I took a picture and I shared it online, hoping people would like it.
That's a very natural thing to do. You want to share your joy.
Right. And most of the comments were really nice. But then one person wrote this really rude comment, something like, "That looks terrible."
Ouch. That just cuts right through, doesn't it? Especially when it's something you created.
It was instant. My whole mood just flipped. I felt this rush of shame, like I was small and stupid for even posting it. The joy I felt was completely gone. I almost deleted the picture.
And in that moment, you see the power transfer. You let a complete stranger, someone who has no real impact on your life, control your feelings about your own creation.
Yeah. I was borrowing my worth from the audience. And when one person disapproved, it all came crashing down.
So the strength of real self-worth is that it's internal. It's not up for debate.
And to get that power back, we want to encourage you, the listener, to use 2 simple power sentences.
Mm-hmm. Repeat them until they start to feel true.
The first one is, "My worth is not up for discussion."
I love that. It means my value is a fact. It's not something I have to prove or defend to anyone. It just is.
And the second one, which is so comforting, especially if you're learning something new, "I am enough, even when I am improving."
Oh, that's beautiful. It frees you from that need to be perfect. You don't have to wait until you've mastered English or reached some big goal to feel okay. You're okay right now in the middle of the process.
And when you really start to believe these sentences, your behavior starts to change. You stop performing for other people.
Yes. When you stop performing for that audience, you create the space to finally meet your real self. And that clarity, seeing who you really are, is the starting point for everything else we're going to talk about.
Okay, so let's talk about that clarity.
That clarity is what we call self-awareness. Self-love isn't some big dramatic thing. It starts with quiet, honest self-awareness.
So if self-respect is the destination, self-awareness is the map that gets you there. But how do we, read that map?
It means noticing 3 key things about your inner world: your needs, your feelings, and especially your triggers. You have to turn down the volume on the outside world and start listening to your internal signals.
Let's define triggers, because that's such an important word for protecting yourself.
A trigger is like a sudden flash of light inside your head. Something happens on the outside. It could be a certain phrase someone says, a demanding email.
Or even just walking into a really crowded room.
Exactly. And flash, you instantly feel a really strong automatic emotion. It could be anger or insecurity or sadness, and it happens before you even have time to think about it.
It's a fast reaction, and if you don't know what your triggers are, you can't protect yourself from them. They'll just control you.
That's right. So one of the best ways to build this awareness is a really simple exercise. At the end of each day, just ask yourself 2 questions. First, what drained me today?
Drained. That's a key word. It means something that takes your energy away slowly, like a tiny hole in a balloon.
Perfect metaphor. You don't notice it at first, but eventually you feel completely flat. And the second question is, what gave me energy today?
So you're becoming a manager of your own energy.
An expert manager.
Yeah.
We have a limited amount of it. So what are some common energy drains?
Difficult conversations, for sure. The sources call them battery thieves.
I love that. A huge modern one is doom scrolling. That's
Mhm.
when you're online, Just scrolling and scrolling, looking at negative news, stressful posts, comparing your life to others.
And you finish, and you feel heavy and anxious and tired, even though you haven't moved. Doom scrolling is like running a mental marathon. It drains you so fast. So to notice these things, we need quiet time. We need space to actually hear that quiet voice inside.
That quiet time, it could be journaling or just taking a walk without your phone, is so important. It's like clearing the fog from a mountain path.
Ooh, yeah, I like that.
When the path is foggy, when your head is full of noise, you can't see the next step. Your decisions get messy.
But when the fog lifts, you can see clearly. You can hear that little voice saying, I need to rest, instead of just ignoring it.
And this connects to being non-judgmental. Self-awareness isn't about saying, I'm weak because crowds make me anxious. That's judgment.
The non-judgmental way is just to observe, oh, I noticed that after 2 hours in a crowd, my energy is gone. I need to plan for that next time.
It's just information. It's data. It's not a failure. And when you start treating yourself with that kind of careful observation, you naturally start changing that voice inside your head.
Yeah, that's the next big step.
Yeah.
Because once you get that clarity, you start to notice these little habits you have of making yourself smaller.
Hmm?
And a really big one is the sorry habit. People are constantly apologizing for just existing, for asking a question, for taking up space.
It becomes automatic, doesn't it? Sorry to bother you, or sorry I'm asking this, or sorry I'm a little tired today.
And every time you do that, you're sending this message to yourself and to others that says, I don't really deserve to be here. But you do. You deserve to be here, to be heard, to have needs.
We have to be clear. Apologizing when you've actually made a mistake is good. It's responsible.
Of course.
But don't apologize for being human. Don't apologize for needing rest or for speaking up.
And what's interesting is when you start to stop shrinking, when you stand up a little straighter, that's often when the inner critic gets really loud.
Oh, yes, it doesn't change. It tries to pull you back to your old habits. It starts yelling things like, who do you think you are? You're not good enough for this.
Oh, let's define that voice. The inner critic is the part of your mind that does negative self-talk. It's like a bully in your mind that's constantly judging you.
And the really dangerous part is that because that voice is in your own head, we think it's telling the truth. We mistake its opinions for facts.
We start to believe, I am a failure, not I had a thought that I am a failure.
Exactly. So how do we deal with this bully? The simplest and most powerful trick is what we can call the friendship rule.
The friendship rule, okay.
Just ask yourself, how would I talk to my best friend right now if they were in this situation?
Right. You would never tell your friend who just made a mistake, you're useless and you should just give up. You'd be kind, you'd be encouraging.
Yet we let ourselves hear those horrible things all day long. You can't walk away from the bully in your head, so you have to change the conversation.
And one way to do that is, when you notice a negative thought, don't fight it, don't argue with it, just question it.
Create a little space and ask, is this a fact or is this just fear?
This is such a powerful tool. A negative thought can feel like a bad weather report that predicts a huge storm is coming. It makes you feel anxious and hopeless.
But facts are like a clear current map. They show you what is real right now. Is it true that you always fail? Or did you fail at one specific thing, one time?
And you realize the big storm is usually just a little bit of rain.
It is. And when you do make a mistake, because we all do, it's so important not to connect it to your identity. Don't say, I am a bad person.
Instead, you see the mistake as just information, as feedback.
Right. Okay, that didn't work. I learned something. Next time I'll try a different way. A mistake is a stepping stone, not a definition of who you are.
And when you can change your inner conversation to be more supportive, it becomes so much easier to set those boundaries with the outside world without feeling so guilty all the time.
Yes, because now you're not setting a limit because you're angry. You're setting it from a place of quiet, solid self-respect. It's not a fight anymore. It's just a personal choice.
But this is where so many kind people get stuck. They're people pleasers. They're just wired to keep everyone else happy, even if it makes them miserable.
And when they finally do manage to say no, even when they're exhausted, they get hit by this huge wave of guilt.
Guilt, that heavy, bad feeling that you did something wrong.
That guilt is like a loud, unwanted guest in your house, and it's just shouting at you, "You're so selfish, you should have helped them."
It's so loud.
It is. And we need to make an important distinction here between guilt and shame. Guilt is about behavior. I did a bad thing.
Okay.
But shame is about identity. I am a bad person.
That's a huge difference. If you feel guilt, you can change the behavior. If you feel shame, you feel like you're broken and can't be fixed.
And people pleasers often carry this old guilt and shame around like they're wearing heavy, soaking, wet boots all the time.
And they've worn them for so long they don't even notice them anymore, but it makes every single step they take so much harder.
It does. So our message has to be very clear. Saying no to a request is not a cruel thing to do. Sometimes saying no is the kindest thing you can do for yourself so you have the energy to truly help later on.
So let's practice some simple, kind phrases. These are English sentences you can borrow and use right away.
Listen to the tone. It's firm, but it's warm.
Okay, here's one. I appreciate you asking, but I can't take that on today.
See? You acknowledge them, but the no is clear. Or, how about this? I'm not available this week as my priority is rest.
Or one that requires no explanation at all. Thank you, but I need to focus on my own tasks tonight.
Notice how short those are. This is so important because we have to avoid the over-explaining trap.
Yes. The trap where you give a long, detailed story to justify your no. The sources called it writing a 5-page essay titled, "Please Still Like Me."
Haha, that's perfect. Because if you give a long explanation, I can't come because I have work and my kid is sick and my car is broken, you're basically inviting the other person to solve your problems for you.
Right. They'll say, don't worry, I can help with that, and then your boundary is gone.
A simple, kind, and firm no is a complete sentence. It respects them and it respects you.
And when you start doing this consistently, when you create these limits, something really amazing happens. You create space.
Joy needs room to breathe. When your life is so crowded with obligations and pleasing other people, you can't even notice the good things. They get lost in all the noise.
You need that space, that personal garden to remember what actually makes you happy.
Exactly.
And that leads to this next big idea. Once you have that space, you realize that happiness is not a reward. It's not a luxury like an expensive watch you get after you've worked really hard.
It's not a dessert you only get to have after you've finished all the hard stuff. It's an essential part of being healthy, just like sleep or good food.
And you don't need a perfect life to find it. The power is in the small joys that count.
Mm-hmm. Slow cup of coffee in the morning.
Feeling the sun on your face for a minute. Stopping to really listen to a song you love. What little things make you feel alive?
If we're always delaying our happiness, it's usually because we are chasing an impossible goal. Perfection.
Oh, that's a big one. We tell ourselves, when I fix everything that's wrong with me, then I'll deserve to be happy.
But the problem with perfection is that it's a moving target. As soon as you get close to one goal, you just set a new, harder one.
So if you wait to be perfect before you let yourself rest and enjoy your life, you're going to wait forever.
Forever. And this feeling gets so much worse because of the comparison trap, especially on social media.
Oh yeah. We're always looking at someone else's highlight reel. We see their perfect vacation photos, their biggest career wins, their beautiful homes.
We never see the messy parts, the stress, the mistakes, the arguments.
So we're comparing our real, complicated, behind-the-scenes life to someone else's fake, edited movie trailer. It's not a fair comparison.
It's not. Real self-respect means you only measure your progress against yourself, against your own values.
And when you start living by your own values, you realize that your personal energy is not unlimited.
Yeah.
You have to protect it.
Even the most generous people in the world will eventually experience burnout. They get completely empty because they just keep giving and giving from an empty cup.
And then they're surprised when there's nothing left. It's not that you're lazy, you're just deeply, profoundly tired.
Which means your environment, the people around you, the content you watch, your daily habits, all of it affects your energy.
You have to be selective.
Very selective. Think about your relationships. Some people make you feel warm and safe. With others, you feel tense, like you have to perform or choose your words very carefully.
That feeling of tension is a sign. It's a piece of data.
It is. It doesn't mean they're a bad person. It just means that specific relationship is not good for your energy levels right now. And you have to put your health first.
And sometimes this means we have to accept a hard truth
Yeah.
that we just outgrow people.
It can be sad, but it's a normal part of growth. And you don't need a big fight or a dramatic conversation to end things.
Sometimes self-respect just means quietly stepping back, creating a little more distance, a little more quiet for yourself. Peace is also a choice.
And when you choose peace, when you protect your energy, you become so much stronger. And when difficult things happen, because they will, you are so much better prepared to recover. You can bounce back.
Let's define that. Bouncing back.
To bounce back just means you recover quickly after something hard happens. A rejection, a failure, a bad week. It doesn't mean it didn't hurt. It just means you didn't break. You find your strength again faster.
And people with strong self-worth, they bounce back faster because they don't immediately start punishing themselves with shame.
Exactly. They don't go into that long speech of, I'm a total failure. Instead, they immediately look for one small win, one tiny, manageable thing to get moving again.
So what does a small win look like when you're feeling really low?
It can be so humble. It could be just getting out of bed and making yourself a nice cup of tea. It could be answering one email you've been avoiding, or just going for a 10-minute walk outside. These are all victories.
And we have to celebrate them because these small wins build something we can call quiet confidence.
I love that term. Think of it like collecting small, smooth stones for a path. One little stone doesn't seem like much.
Right.
But if you keep collecting them day after day and place them side by side, eventually you have a strong, solid path to stand on, a foundation of internal strength.
And that path, those stones, they help you on the really hard days. You know you've walked a difficult path before, and you can do it again.
To get to that level of strength, though, there is one final critical ingredient, and that is forgiveness. Specifically, forgiving yourself.
This is maybe the hardest one we've talked about today.
Yeah.
Why is forgiving ourselves so difficult?
Because, as we said, so many people are carrying years of old guilt and regret. They are carrying that weight around like they're wearing those heavy, wet clothes we talked about. It makes everything harder.
Even easy days feel exhausting because you're carrying all that invisible weight from the past.
And forgiving yourself doesn't mean you have to say, what I did back then was perfect. It's not about that. It just means accepting your humanity. It means saying, I am human. I made a mistake. I learned from it. And now I choose to move forward and do better.
It's about keeping the lesson, but putting down the shame.
That's it, exactly. Keep the lesson, put down the shame. You deserve a fresh start, just like anyone else. That is true internal freedom.
That feels like a really powerful place to pause the main discussion. I hope that you, our listener, are feeling a little bit stronger and a little clearer now.
Before we finish, let's do our calm word tour. We're going to slow down and just clearly review the most important vocabulary from today. This is a great chance to practice your English.
Yeah, you can replay this part as many times as you need. Let the words sink in.
Okay, we started with standard. Your standard is your personal rule for what you will and will not accept. It's your minimum acceptable level. For example, my standard is that I protect my evenings for rest.
Next was available. If you are available, your time is free and you can respond, ready to be used or contacted. For example, I am not available for work calls after 7 p.m.
We talked about being reliable. This means people can trust you. You do what you say you will do. Trustworthy and consistent. For example, she is reliable because she respects her own commitments first.
We talked about feeling overwhelmed. This is when you feel there's too much happening for your brain to handle, feeling crushed by too much work or emotion. For example, I felt overwhelmed, so I broke the big task into small steps.
The big idea was boundaries, your personal limits, what is okay and what is not okay for you, a line that marks a limit. For example, setting a clear boundary protected my weekend.
And when you set a boundary, others might feel uncomfortable. That means not relaxed, feeling tense or awkward, not at ease. For example, he looked uncomfortable when I said no without a long explanation.
The foundation was self-worth, the core belief that you have value just by being a person, the sense of your own value. For example, my self-worth isn't changed by one small mistake.
And we talked about the trap of seeking validation. That's needing approval from other people to feel good enough. External confirmation, for example. If you always seek validation, you give away your power.
Relying on validation can make you feel fragile, meaning easily broken or hurt, easily damaged, for example. My confidence felt fragile until I started trusting my own voice.
We mentioned people who criticize. To criticize is to judge or say negative things about someone. To judge negatively, for example. Instead of criticizing myself, I look for what I can learn.
And if your worth is fragile, your mood can crash. To clash means to fall suddenly and intensely. To fall suddenly, for example. After I read that negative comment, my mood crashed.
We said self-love starts with self-awareness. This is knowing and understanding your own feelings and needs. Knowing yourself clearly. For example, self-awareness helps me notice when I'm getting tired.
And we learned about a trigger, something that causes a strong, immediate emotional reaction in you. A quick cause of a strong feeling, for example. Loud, sudden noises are a trigger for my anxiety.
We identified things that drain our energy. To drain means to take energy away slowly until it's gone. To take energy away, for example, too much negative news drains my mental battery.
A modern drain is doom scrolling. That's scrolling online for a long time, looking at stressful content, reading stressful content online continuously. For example, I replaced doom scrolling with reading a book.
We talked about the habit of saying, apologize. That's saying sorry. We reminded you, don't apologize for being human or needing rest.
We met the inner critic, that negative voice in your mind that judges you, the internal negative judge. For example, when my inner critic gets loud, I question its thoughts.
This voice produces negative self-talk. The harsh way you speak to yourself inside your head. Harsh internal communication, for example. Changing my negative self-talk was the first step to feeling better.
We said setting boundaries is not selfish. Selfish means you only care about yourself, caring only about oneself, for example. It is not selfish to rest, it's necessary.
When you say no, you might feel guilt. That heavy feeling that you did something wrong, the emotion of thinking you did wrong. For example, guilt can be loud, but it's not always telling the truth.
And finally, we talked about letting go of regret. Regret is feeling sad about something in the past. Sadness over past actions, for example. I will learn the lesson and leave the regret behind.
Excellent. That was our calm word tour. If you take just one thing away from our whole conversation today, let it be this. You are the most important person you will ever have a relationship with.
And so, the way you treat yourself is the most valuable relationship education you will ever get. Choose one small upgrade this week. One boundary, one kinder sentence, one clear no.
And now, here is your challenge to really make this stick. What is the one word or lesson you learned today that you need to remember? Write it in the comments below. We want you to finish this sentence in your own English. This week I will.
Finishing that sentence turns a thought into a real commitment. We are so proud of you for spending this time on yourself today. You're making amazing progress.
Thank you so much for joining us for this exploration. Bye for now.